Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone tonight? It is Wednesday and I'm a couple minutes behind. I'm here today to talk about one of my favorite things to do. I spent 17 years in higher education, and my whole career in higher education actually came about because I started doing vision boards. Back in the day, we called them vision boards. And I'll be honest with you, vision board, something I started when I was in grad school the very first time. And I put a lot of things like most people on my vision board over the years that have been, I guess you could say, maybe unrealistic. And the reality is, we all know that we have a tendency to be overachievers and to do just way, way, way too many things. And because we're overachievers and we tend to do too many things, we can't focus and can't complete things that are on our goals. So, what I want to do next is share the link, share some links to some examples we're going to use. So, if you would bear with me for just a second. Okay. All right. It looks like I'm on. I have to check my phone to make sure that I'm actually on YouTube. So it looks like everything is okay. So I have a couple of things that I want to share with you today. First of all, I noticed that there's so many videos already out that are sort of like new year, new me. So I have sort of a different take on that. It's not new year, new you. It's new year, still you. And what that means is that you're okay. Like, you don't need to be a new you. You just need to learn how to be aware of the things that you bring to the table that make you who you are, that make you special, that make you in your operate in your zone of genius, things that bring you joy. And when we do that, we're always going to be able to do the things that we're supposed to get done. One of the things that I'm aware of is I have a tendency, to be honest with you, to set goals. I love making a list. Right now, I'm going to see if I can hold this up and see if it'll show up for you. So I have my background blurred, but I'm a pen and paper person. I love a great pen. I love a paper journal. And if you were to look at my this says 2025. So it's a paper journal that I picked up at Marshall's recently. I am a person who loves making lists. I love crossing off things. I'm also a list maker in the digital format. And so what I found is that when I started doing the things that really helped me lean into the areas that I enjoy, I am a better manager of my time, manager of my energy, manager of my finances, manager of my social capital. And so, what I mean by New Year, same you, is that you get to finally be the type of person who can thrive at work because you've decided to focus on the things that are going to both bring you joy, allow you to thrive, but at the same time, allow you to do work that is high priority and very impactful in your area of expertise in terms of your profession. So tonight we're going to focus not just on all the things that you're dreaming of. I'm also a person who listens to I can't think of his name, Ali, who's the YouTuber that's the doctor turned entrepreneur. He wrote a big book on called Feel Good Productivity. And he talks a lot about quarterly quests. So that's sort of like the specific way that I want to position tonight's conversation. So, your job, your career is likely, if it's not, one of multiple income streams. And because your career is a place where you probably spend 8+ hours a day. On the days that I actually went into work, I would often teach and go to meetings and do planning and grading. And it would be more like a 12-hour day, 14 if you included the commute on both sides. So, because of that, um, I needed to make sure that, first of all, I was optimizing what I did on the days that I was on campus. And some of the other things that I was responsible for doing, I found that I also needed to be very strategic in what I got accomplished. So your career, your professional legacy is an area where you want to be able to say, I gave it my all and I gave it, well, let me rephrase that. You don't need to give it your all, but you need to give it your high priority energy. So, for example, I'm a morning person, and things that I do in the evening are things that I know will require less from me in terms of my energy, in terms of my executive functioning. There's something that is a high leverage project that I want to make sure it gets done to the best of my ability. I'm going to schedule it before 2 p.m. If it's something like that involves a lot of negotiating and working with a group of people, I'm going to use systems to schedule meetings. I'm going to use systems to send out agendas and reminder notes that are going to automate things that are going to make my life much, much easier. And so that's an example of something that I decided that I needed to invest in because I was a person who used the process of doing what I like to call an inspiration board. And the inspiration board can be really, really helpful because it's showing you how do you find areas of that are going to bring you joy? How do you find areas, I'm looking at my notes, that are going to help you to thrive? You may be remember from a previous episode that I told you that we are going to use the theme this year on my channel, We Thrive Together. And the purpose for that is because one of the things that I recognized about myself in this last year is that I'm a community builder. Everywhere I go, everywhere I've lived, every department I've worked in, there's sort of like this little tribe that I take great pride in providing, not just support for me, but support for the projects that I'm working on and people who can support each other, even if I'm not there and I move on, like in the case of me retiring. So, vision boards and inspiration boards, my theme this year is We Thrive Together from my vision board. Last year, my theme was just thrive. And so, I have in the description a couple of links. But what I want to do is give you a link that's an example of what I did last year. So, I'm using StreamYard for the first time. And so, we're going to see if this works. I hope it does. So this is a link to a vision board that I did in 2023. So let's see if it doesn't want to. Control C. I'm going to come back over here and put it in the comments. Okay, so this is the template from 2023. I'm also going to try to lay it here. It says add item, dynamic media. This is my first time using this, so hopefully we will see that it works. I'm going to save it. Hopefully it'll show up. Thank you for your patience. So, okay, I don't see it. Okay, I'm going to hit this present tab. Let me try that. Slides and PDFs, extra camera. Okay, video file. Let's try that. I'm going to see if it will. Okay, so let me, so it is showing me the one that I made a while back. Okay, so I'm just going to put this one up and see what happens. This is not the one from 2023, but there is a link in the chat that will show you the 2023 one. So this is actually the one that I'm working on for 2025. And it doesn't have any music yet, but it will. And so what it does is I create it in Canva, and then I'm going to give you the link to this template. And it shows every area of my professional goals for coming up. So I'm going to let it play through, and then I'm going to go back and hopefully play it again. So travel was a big theme in my 2024 board, and travel is a big theme in this year's board as well. So I'm going to actually do one more video and see if I can find the 2024 one. Hopefully it'll show up. Go to downloads. This is probably a good time to have some background music. And of course, I don't have any background music. Let me see if I can do, I'm just going to put in 2024, see if I can get it up. I actually have it as a series of PDF files. I don't have it. Okay, let me try 2023, see if it comes up. No. Okay, I'm going to try Thrive. It looks like I'm not going to be able to find the video part, but I am going to put a link in the link is already in the description, but I really wanted to show you what I changed. Okay, so what we're going to do is go back to here and start it over. I think this will play it again. All right. Let's see if I can start it again. Here we go. Okay, so the first thing I do obviously is put a title on it. And as I said, I think the real goal of the boards or a digital file that you can turn into a short film. You can save it on your phone as sort of a screensaver. On my desktop, I had it as a screensaver. That was something I started doing in 2023. And the purpose for me is not that you want to lay out your whole vision. I mean, as you all may know, I'm in my 50s, getting closer and closer every day to 60. And so it's not so much that I want to have a vision of what I want to be doing 20 years from now or 10 years from now. In fact, even when I started doing digital vision boards, my goal was, what do I need to get done before I retire at 55? And then I actually retired a couple of years after 55. And so now I've been retired 6 months. So my goals have been, what do I want to do in this job? Because this job will become one of a series of income streams when I'm in retirement. But what are the things that I need to focus on? Skills I need to learn, certifications, networks that I want to make, ties I want to strengthen. So therefore, I see this as more of an inspiration board. And the purpose of inspiration is you need skills, but you also need pictures that are going to trigger your emotion center to really help you push through any challenges that you have. So that's why I'm calling it an inspiration board. And so my theme, as I said, so my second slide is my theme. And last year I just had the word thrive, and I had a picture. I had envisioned going on a cruise. I didn't go on a cruise. I decided to do a whole bunch of other things. But there are two things. As I said, one of the realities that I had over the last couple of years is one of my natural strengths is community building. And so I really wanted to do something that I'm continuing the theme of thriving. And I'm probably going to continue this idea of how do I recognize and become more focused on areas where I thrive and where I help other people to thrive. As a career coach, one of the things that's really important to me is helping people who are feeling really stuck, overwhelmed, and frustrated, and helping those people then move forward into um, their vision of themselves as leaders and as liberators and as people who are also liberating other people outside of themselves. And so I feel like this theme, this phrase really integrates this idea of thriving, not just myself, but the community that I'm a part of, the community that I'm building, and that these are things that we do together in collaboration. So that's where the theme came from. We thrive together. And so I have a little animation. So what I did last year was I started the file with a reflection of 2024 because of the season that I'm in, only 6 months of retirement. There are things that I did that I just sort of dipped my foot in or dipped my toe in. And so I'm continuing those. So some of these pictures are pictures from 2024, but they're things that I want to lean into more intentionally in coming forward. I'm sorry, I need to. So the next thing is these pictures. So actually, I'm going to try to broaden this. I can see if I can tell you. So what we have here is the podcast that is coming out later this month, the Martin Luther King weekend. My Academic Life is a podcast. It's going to be a little more frequently than monthly. My goal is to interview 2 or 3 people per month and to release 1 episode a month, and there'll be 12 episodes in season 1. But I'd also like to finish season 1 in the fall of 2025 so I could take some time off and then work on season 2. And I see these as my legacy goals. And so I have 2025 up at the top and legacy at the end. So that's another like core concept of this community that I'm building that I'm really intentional about. How do we help? So for me, how do I make sure that Crystal feels like she's thriving? One of the things that I do is I make sure that everything I do is attached to the future. And not just the future that I can see, but the future beyond where I can see, like work that I feel passionate about, things that I want to see happen in society. And I actually talked, if not last week, a couple of weeks ago, about this idea of legacy. And I did a workshop in December on YouTube, and soon it was a free masterclass. Soon I'm going to have the recording edited, and I will be making that available for purchase. And in that, I talked about the vision that my great grandmother had for what she wanted for her, at the time, children's children to have. And I'm a product of that, of the decisions that she made about how she invested herself in business in order for me and my mom to have the life that we ultimately had and have. And I want to do the same thing. I don't have grandchildren now, but my legacy involves thinking about what is the type of childhood, educational experiences, travel experiences do I want my children's children and their children to have? And so I think there's some strategic decisions that you operate in the world in order to do that. So the podcast is a resource that will be evergreen material where people will be talking about their own academic journeys, the challenges that they faced and how they were able to overcome those challenges, and how they see themselves thriving in the educational system of the future. Primarily, it'll be focused on educators and people who are leaders in the higher education space. I'm sorry, my what is it? Ring light is suddenly blinking. So one of my favorite books that's been on my inspiration board for a couple years is Trisha Hersey's Rest is Resistance. and this idea of a manifesto. So it's on here this year because I'm really leaning into the idea of coming up with a manifesto for myself and for my business. And so that's in the legacy vein. I don't know that it will need to be a book necessarily, but who knows what will happen. But I think that is one of the pillars of what I see as a thriving community, a community that is very intentional about getting rest. And rest is not just about taking a nap, as she and many others have said before me, but rest is really about leaning into those things that are going to help you restore yourself, your mind, your spirit, your body, and all the things. And then on the side, I have a picture of myself. I discovered in international train travel, I had the opportunity to ride in trains in 3 countries in 2024. And so that's something I want to explore more. So this is me on a train going through the Mediterranean coast of Spain. And I also had the opportunity to do that in the United Kingdom. And I also had the opportunity to do that in France. So up at the top, I have some pictures that are really showing my community at my retirement party. Up at the top, I have a logo that I had for my company. That's actually not the logo I use anymore, but it was the one that was handy, kind of showing the color scheme. And then I believe that if and when I go back to teaching, I want to put systems in place that are going to allow me to help students also be liberated from hustle culture and to thrive together in community. And then I also chose some pictures that have to do with showing rest and peace in nature. So let's see if I can move this forward. Let's see. Okay, so the next thing that I have as far as my professional goals is more on the podcast, and I've talked about that. So we'll just keep going. And the next thing has to do with my desire to return to public speaking. Before, I think when you're an educator, you do so much in terms of public speaking till, and it's not public speaking, but teaching is it is public speaking, I guess, a form of public speaking. But I really want to go back to doing things that are a little bit more centered around Black communities, faith-based communities, women's groups, adolescents and young adults. And I really want to design workshops and keynote speaking in a way that's going to really help me feel like I'm pouring into people, but at the same time refining sort of my message and a media kit. So that is actually a third quarter goal. So one of the things that I mentioned is I'm going to turn this particular file into a tracking for what do I want to focus on each quarter. So this is going to be a quarter 3 focus. And so I just went ahead and started with so in here, so this shows a couple of things. So I have a business coach. Her name is Dr. Sade Adu, and I've been learning to design online courses for sort of business to consumer B2C clients. And I've also been learning about artificial intelligence and image generation. And so these 3 images are different things that I generated using AI, and I want to actually get better at that. I would say I'm probably an intermediate as far as Canva use is, and I want to do that even more. I want to actually create a course for educators to learn to use Canva, and for other small infopreneurs like myself to create digital products using image generation and AI. And so this is really what this so this is probably something I've already started and will probably do in the way of sort of like habit tracking. I spend time every morning reading a book. Right now, I'm reading 2 books. Actually, I'm supposed to start a third one because I'm in love with the library. I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is a book about podcasting that I got from the library. So I pretty much read like 15 minutes a day. And then I also read a chapter of this book. So it's an example of a memoir business book, but a memoir in general, Move to Millions. So Dr. Darnell Harvey Harmon, I got that as a gift at an event, or won it at an event for Dr. Sade. And it's good because she comes from a faith-based perspective, and she talks a lot about calling and mission and vocation. and the need to move not just millions of dollars, but millions of people. Like, is your message really gravitating? And how do you amplify and scale your message in such a way that millions of people are impacted? I, as a social psychologist, tend to think about how do we have a message that's so deep that it impacts whole neighborhoods, whole communities, and whole people groups. So that's one of the ways that I think of this idea of amplifying a message. So, practicing a skill 3 times a week. So last year it was Spanish. I don't have any Spanish on my inspiration board for next year, but I will, because if you look at this one, this slide, this is my travel slide. So this is sort of part of also my professional legacy is I want to be an international travel. I want to have experience of, I mean, I have already internationally traveled, but what I haven't done is succeeded, excuse me, in what I haven't done is succeeded in building a business that is location independent and that has systems that are congruent with the lifestyle of being a digital nomad. And so, as I'm going through Panama, I'll be there about 2 months. I'm going to be in Costa Rica a few weeks. Then I'll be going to Guadalajara, Mexico, and I'll be there for at least a month, maybe 6 weeks. One of the things I'm doing different in this leg of the journey compared to my 2024. One, I had too many countries on there. I was doing way too much. And my stretch goal is South Africa. So there's also the South African flag there to the left. But I'm definitely doing the three that are on one side of the lady with her passport and her luggage together. And I'm also carrying less luggage. So this is something that is going to inspire me to stay focused. So this is all I have so far. And what I want to do now, because I'm running up on time, is invite you to join me for a workshop. If you're watching this replay or you're connected with me on LinkedIn, there's a link already on LinkedIn for you to register for a workshop. It's on Friday at 5 o'clock, I think the same time. And I will be doing a monthly career workshop on LinkedIn that I'll be promoting through LinkedIn and YouTube for all of 2025. So I don't really have that on here. And I'm doing them not just because I want to develop some consistency, but I want to curate a set of content where I'm being more consistent on sharing my unique spin, my unique brand of some of the really important issues that are impacting not just academics in higher education who are people of color, especially Black, Brown, and Indigenous people whose history has been and is continuing to be erased in the United States. But I also really want to see how to be in conversation and in collaboration with other people who that is an important issue for them. And when I think about the liberation of Black people, it involves being liberated at work. It involves being able to be your best and to really shine at work. So that is a little bit about where I am now with that process. And what I want to do also is put in the chat the next link, which is the template that we're going to be working on. It's a blank template. It's the one that we're going to be working on in the workshop on Friday. And it actually is a blank template. I actually haven't started, and it has the quarterly themes. So I do want to say, and then there's one more link that I have for you that I wanted to share, the one that I just did. It's not one that you can edit, but it is one that you can take a look at what this as an example. And here we go. So this is the one that I shared today in this episode. Yeah. So basically, I wanted to talk about two other things. One is I don't really believe in resolutions. Resolution is sort of like that promise I resolve on my honor. It reminds me of like the Girl Scout law, the Girl Scout promise. I was a Girl Scout and a Girl Scout troop leader before my daughter was born, before I had kids and got married, and also when she was a little girl. And I think there's something about making a resolution and promising to do something that kind of works to create stress and negative energy in our mindset. And so I'm really careful about not making like absolute resolutions or promises. But what we can do is forecast what are the things that bring me joy? What are the things that I'm good at? Who are the people that bring me joy and help me to lean into being my best and most excellent version of myself when I'm doing work, if that's work for myself, for my business, for my career, my day job, as like people like to call it. So I think of it as attention. So one of the things that I would do after I finish the vision board is I would write a set of affirmations and I would write them as intentions. So an example that I have for this is my 2023 book. I think if I pull it back, you might be able to see it. The 2023 is in the bottom. Uh-oh, something's going on here. My light. Okay, I just lost my light. I don't know what happened here, but I lost my light. Okay. All the things, all the tech things are happening. But anyway, I think you got enough light here. So what I will say is, so these are my affirmations and intentions that I made. Is I was made to create. I will honor and celebrate my worth. I am worthy and my feelings are valid. I am grateful and thankful and blessed. I choose to eat food that makes my body feel good. I was on a real health and nutrition and movement focus in 2023. Not that I'm not still, but this particular episode is dedicated to career goals. I celebrate small victories, my own and others. I am one step closer to the next chapter in my career, and it's okay that my success looks different than others. I will celebrate every level of success, and today begins my greatest adventure yet. And adventure was my theme in 2023 before Thrive. And so you'll see on the example that I gave you from 2023, before I was doing these digital um, slides that I turned into a little movie, I was basically using one large piece of paper. Back in the day when you'd have a large piece of paper, I went to having one digital screen that had different pictures, but it had four quadrants. So there's health, finances, career, and I think travel is on there. I can't remember. I just looked at it. So I just wanted to say that uh-oh. I hope that's right. I think I might have not posted that correctly. Let me try that one more time. Yeah, that other one is not correct. So I'm going to delete this one. And this one is the one I want to show. Again, playing around with StreamYard for the first time. So it looks like once I get the hang of it, it's going to be like a lot of fun to use. I hope that the next time I use StreamYard, I'll have a guest. I'll be able to practice talking with someone about how they're doing their inspiration board and where they are with it. I am not a person who I'm trying to take this away. Okay, there we go. I took it off. So I'm doing okay, actually. And then the last thing I want to close with is telling you about career coaching. I have found that having a coach for my business, for my academic teaching, for my research, when I was in a relationship, for relationship issues, I believe in therapy, but I also really believe in coaching. I also believe, as you know, in reading books and listening to podcasts. These are all great ways to get information and to learn new things and to get inspired. But in order to hold yourself accountable and to get someone to give you insight that maybe you're not going to see because you're in the forest looking at the trees and they're outside the forest looking at the trees, I think a career coach can be a really important investment at a time like this, especially if you are a person who is making a transition. My particular coaching practice is in particular for working adults who are in transition. They're usually mid-career. So there's someone who has been in their career 5, 7, 10 years and are really trying to sort of shake things up and maybe either make a lateral move, a move up, or a move out from the way they've currently defined their career. I've done 3 major shifts. This is my 3rd major shift to be a full-time entrepreneur and a retiree. And actually, if you can tell, I have two businesses. I'm doing individual coaching, and I have a YouTube channel where I'm building a membership community. So Lead and Liberate is a wonderful membership community. We would love to have you. I find that Lead and Liberate works best when you already have worked through some of the early stages of moving from chaos to clarity, from confusion to confidence in terms of what you're doing. If you are a person who is going to need extra support, I certainly did when I was facing my transitions. I strongly encourage you to connect with a coach, a career coach in particular, who focuses on transitions, such as myself. I do have a link in the channel description with a Calendly link where you can get a 30-minute discovery call with me at no cost. And there's also information where you can get longer sessions or a small program where we would, meet every other week for, a couple months. So all of that is available. You can also put a comment in this episode, and please let me know how you feel about these ideas that I've shared today, and what, if anything, you're going to do with this information. I think, the difference between teaching and learning is application. There's so much knowledge on YouTube, but what I find is that when I actually pick one thing and I decide I'm going to do it, it's really helpful. So I would love to see you on Friday in my private Zoom class. There'll only be a handful of people. It's also complimentary, and at some point in the future, that workshop will be packaged along with some other resources and will be for sale. But I'm doing a monthly workshop, as I mentioned earlier, to kind of curate a set of experiences that I can then, basically improve and pitch to other organizations as well. And I'm really thankful for your time. And I hope that if you're watching in the replay, that you'll also like and subscribe, share it with a friend, and put in the comment that you're watching in the replay. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye. Namaste.